to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, Deputy Chief, Anaheim Police Department, Julian Harvey. Welcome.
Good morning, Ron. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you with us. It is Police Appreciation Week, and we do appreciate our law enforcement officers all over the country. Let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We do that every day on Ron Siegel Radio. And having beaten anorexia, we will celebrate National Coquille Saint-Jacques Day today. It's one of the few French words I know, or combinations, I guess. Coquille Saint-Jacques. When you look at it, how can you go wrong? Scallops, butter, cream, mushrooms, cheese. You gotta look at that one. You can't complain about that. It might be a little bit early, but we can always make exceptions. We'll throw a glass of wine in with that one, and we're in good shape. Checking out the markets for you right now. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 9.66. Oil pretty much flat, 48.85 a barrel. It's not going to have any effect on the price of gasoline here in this state of confusion. U.S. 10-year Treasury, it's falling still. 2.32 is the U.S. 10-year Treasury bond. And again, that is one of the big issues that we deal with on a regular basis. U.S. 10-year Treasury, that's what our senior citizens are living off of, so it's always an important number. April housing starts fell 3% from March to an annualized rate of 1.17 million, below the consensus of 1.26 million. Now here's the issue there. Our friends over at Chapman University have shared for years, we need about 1.5 million new housing units every year in order just to keep pace with new household formation, which we know has gone from 6 years to now 10 years, to keep pace with the properties that are just old and obsolete. So we're still a little bit below those numbers. April industrial production rose 1% from March, better than the consensus on that number. Watching what's going on in the news, it's a bit chaotic if you're watching the news right now, and yeah, I understand that a lot of folks are going to talk about the fake news and things like that. I chat about that as well. But how about the hacking that's going on? Now, obviously, if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, or if you've got us streaming live on Facebook, you know that we've got a lot of computers going where we are. But there's computers, we live by computers anymore. I think it's just a given that we've always got a computer running. Think about this, though. What are you going to say if you're Disney and you're looking at their situation where apparently, not only we've dealt with over the weekend, those people that decided they were not going to upgrade their computer software. And I've said many times, I find a lot of those upgrades and patches and things a bit of a nuisance. But now I think we're finding out that you better deal with that nuisance. There's millions and millions, maybe hundreds of millions of people dealing with their computer being hacked. Then they're told, go to Bitcoin, pay $300 through Bitcoin, not traceable. And then they're finding, well, they're not even getting their software back after they pay the ransom. Think about that one. And now look, Disney. See what's going on with Disney right now? Apparently, somebody has stolen or hacked Pirates of the Caribbean. So Disney's out there, they've spent tens of millions of dollars on a movie that somebody else might be just putting up online and they have no access to it, or they can't control the fact they're trying to make their money back. It is business. That's what they're looking to do. And not good news right there, but it is the way of our world. Make sure that you've got your protections up to date. Make sure that you've got your backups up to date. They're not stored on the same machine that may lose your data. A lot of off-site backups. I know on Apple they've got, what do they call it, a time machine or something like that, that might be able to help you. Nothing is a fool safe anymore. But Disney now, they're saying they're not going to pay the ransom. Wonder how that's going to work out for them. We will see. Talking about protection, let's go to a whole different world, because we do talk a lot about finance on Ron Siegel Radio. But how can you protect your retirement portfolios from fake news? Now, if you are a young person, you don't have to necessarily worry about fake news, because it seems to be, you know, the news cycle right now, the way it is, the truth seems to come out within about 24 hours. So you can get the Washington Post Inquirer will make up a story so that the New York Times can cite the Washington Post, and then CNN cites both of them, and then you get officials that come out and say, well, it wasn't exactly the way it happened. Well, if you are a young individual, you have time on your hands. The issue becomes when you're talking about your retirement portfolio. What if you're about ready to have to take a required mandatory distribution, and some of these news stories come out and your portfolio takes a big drop? What are you going to do about it? Have you got that protected? Well, one of the issues right there that I share with you on a regular basis is our friend Al Manfrey, who's got the portfolio where it's basically insured for you, so you don't have an opportunity to lose money. Who owns the biggest buildings in every city? Now, don't look at this top of the sign on top, because that's just somebody who pays for their name to be on the top of those big buildings. But if you go to the county recorder, you'll see the 3 biggest landowners in the United States will be the United States government, the Catholic Church, and insurance companies. Now, if you get an insurance company to protect you and maintain your portfolio, doesn't that seem to make sense to you, where you don't have to pay them a whole lot of money, yet they're protecting you and your family? Just a thought for you right there, because you can't trust somebody else to protect your family. And I know we've got these defined benefit plans or defined contribution plans. Most people don't even understand the defined benefit plan anymore, because that's not what the masses get. That's really, when you look at the school districts, they get the defined benefit plan. Basically, they're told that they're going to get X amount of dollars at the end of their career in a retirement program. Well, those are the numbers where, if you remember, about a month ago we reported to you that the state of California, they missed their retirement programs, their budgeting, just a little bit. It was about $2.9 billion that they were off, $2.9 billion. Now, I know that they can waste a lot of money, but how do you do an accounting error of $2.9 billion? Ow! Where's that money going to come from? Well, the answer is very simple. The governor keeps saying, well, let's just raise more taxes. But the people that have the money, when you look and see that the wealthy of the country, they have they get 2 votes, and they're both legal. It's ironic enough that we hear a lot about illegal voting, but the wealthy of the country, they get 2 votes. A lot of us only get 1. See, we go to the ballot box and we vote once, but wealthy have the opportunity of voting with their feet as well. See, they leave the state of California and go to a state that's more friendly to wealthy. Have you ever listened, and I just use this for an example. Rush Limbaugh will not broadcast a show from New York City because they tax him so much money. He says, in Florida, I don't have to pay taxes. So why would I broadcast from New York City? Why do you think Glenn Beck moved to Dallas? Because they don't have taxes there. The personal income tax is not the same. Now, do they have taxes? Yeah, they've got other kinds of taxes. But they're able to, the wealthy go to those other areas. Now, how is the governor going to come up with $2.9 billion and still tell people that he's not raising taxes? Well, do you remember about a week or so ago we added 12 cents to our gasoline tax? I know they said it's going to go for infrastructure, but they told us the lottery's going for schools. How do they deal with that? Well, they just take the money from the general fund in an equivalent amount and put it toward these other institutions. Watch, use your... I think, I don't know if I shared this with you yesterday. The two favorite words I'm using right now, especially when I hear some of the battles going on social media, my two favorite words: prove it. You see, when you listen to the Washington Post-Inquirer, and Jeff Bezos, owner of the Washington Post, has come out saying that he hates Donald Trump, would do anything to get him out of office, while Bezos has made about $15 billion since President Trump was elected. Yes, $15 billion since President Trump was elected. But you see, they just come up with some of this odd stories where they don't cite a source. Now, we're in Police Appreciation Week. Could you imagine somebody going to court and saying, well, an unnamed source told us that Johnny committed this crime? Probably doesn't work that way. Yet, freedom of speech, they let him get away with that. Just a thought. Use your head. Tell people in the media, prove it. Make them prove to you where you can follow what they're saying, what's going on. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, tips for effectively making a real estate offer. Do you know the cost of not owning your own home? What will my retirement accounts be worth when I'm ready to retire? And it's Police Appreciation Week. We're going to chat with the Deputy Chief, Julian Harvey, right here on Ron Siegel Radio. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, and all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card volume into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple, and the cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Well, welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message. And as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today. Being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. 4 tips for effectively making a real estate offer. And I'm not going to even go into the fact that you need to have a real estate professional do this for you. But Freddie Mac came up with 4 tips for making an offer in their latest executive perspective. And here are the tips they covered with a little bit of my own commentary. Understand how much you can afford. Don't go looking at a $700,000 house on a $400,000 budget. You're not going to be very happy when you find your house at $400,000 that you can afford because you've been looking at things that are out of your budget. Just remember, it's your budget, it's your castle. It doesn't matter how much it is, but it's yours. Get in the game. Right now, you must act fast. There's only a 3.9 month supply of real estate in most parts of Southern California. 3.9 months. 6 months is what a normal supply of real estate is. If you find something you like, make an offer with your real estate professional, which then goes back to number 1. Know how much you can afford. Get pre-underwritten. Ask your real estate professional, did they check box J4 on the real estate contract? If not, call our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage. Box J4 is a biggie. Make a solid offer. In this environment, if you see a house for $400,000, you're not going to buy it for $325,000. It's just not going to happen. Be prepared to negotiate. That's what you're paying the real estate professionals for. They're used to it. They understand the methods there. Talk to the real estate professionals. So whether you're buying your first home or your 5th, have a local professional on your side who is an expert in the market and is your best bet in making sure the process goes smoothly. Happy house hunting. That is the real-time real estate segment. Again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. So as part of Police Appreciation Week, I always enjoy the opportunity of honoring our law enforcement officers. Julian Harvey, Deputy Chief, Anaheim Police Department, is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Ron.
Glad to have you with us, and I should say right from the very beginning, thank you for what you and all of the law enforcement officers do. It's a tough job.
Oh, we appreciate that. We appreciate everyone's support out there.
So let's chat a little bit about different things that go on. I know we've got a couple of things I really want to chat with you about this morning, and obviously we've got Memorial Day coming up. So we know that one of the big issues that all of us have to be concerned with is the addition of the alcohol and other quasi-legal issues or intoxicants, I guess is the terminology. So I get questioned frequently about why is it, and as a consumer advocate and having a decent reach, whenever the police departments share information, especially with DUI checkpoints, I share that with the community. Is that something law enforcement wants?
Absolutely. We want the most accurate information as possible out there. DUI checkpoints serve a very effective function in deterring people that, we want people to have a good time. It's a long 3-day weekend. They'll be with family and friends. We expect them to, have a few drinks. But what we don't want is them to go out onto the roads and become a safety hazard. So we want everyone to know when the checkpoint is coming, where it's going to be, and what the rules are. It's part of the law, actually. We're required to advertise those and where they're going to be on what day. So the more information that can come out from people like yourself and others to educate people, hey, there's going to be one out this week. We just don't want people drinking and driving.
So let me throw the devil's advocate sort to you a little bit. A DUI checkpoint is obviously one location that has a concentration of officers. Do you get a better result by having those officers in that one location or spread out or throughout the community more?
We do both, actually. Part of our, we receive grant funding from the state and from the federal government to do enforcement specifically to deter and to prevent drunk driving. So we do both. So we have the checkpoints that serve as everyone knows there's a checkpoint out, we know where it is, and what those serve to do is they tell people, you know, this might not be the right weekend to go party and to drive. So that's number one. Number two is we're out there doing proactive enforcement with saturation patrols. They're out there, officers are looking for people that might be driving under the influence. So those two combined have proven effective because, let's face it, people respond when they think they might get a ticket or they might get arrested when it comes to traffic enforcement.
So I suggest that it's probably not a whole lot of fun for a law enforcement officer to do all the paperwork involved in an arrest. And it'd probably be more fun for them to be driving around and have people seeing them, or at the checkpoints, either way, seeing them and deterring people from making those foolish mistakes.
Exactly. We just don't want people to drink and drive. There's so many options now. Call a friend, use public transportation, use an Uber or a Lyft service. There's so many ways to avoid having to get behind the wheel when you've been drinking. We just don't want people to do it any longer. It is still a significant cause of injury, traffic collisions. Far too many people are getting injured and killed on our roads due to drunk driving. And so whatever we can do in terms of deterring that and getting the word out that please enjoy yourselves, but just don't get behind the wheel.
So I was looking at your bio, and holy cow, it seems like you've done some of everything in law enforcement.
Quite a bit.
I got to ask you this question just because I'm a junkie of watching police shows on TV, and I think I saw in here that you did some work in internal affairs. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
So are the internal affairs officers as chastised as they're made out on TV?
They're given a hard time. You know, the euphemism in the department is they're the rat squad. You know, they're out there looking to trip officers up and get them in trouble. It's not the case. They're an absolutely necessary function within any police department, that there be a level of oversight. We pride ourselves at the Anaheim Police Department, and as do most agencies, the ability to police ourselves, that when misconduct is brought to our attention or when it's discovered by ourselves, that we take appropriate and swift action. 99% of the time, the officers are out there doing exactly what they should be doing. They are human. They will make mistakes. There's no question about that. And so we deal with those mistakes individually. We look at all of the circumstances and take appropriate action. It's when someone that's purposely doing things maybe immorally or illegally is when the swift action is far more severe, and those people may not really belong in this profession. And
I'm a big believer, because I am very, very proud to say I'm pro police all the time. So I would submit that in many instances, as a civilian, I might dislike the officer that goes out of line. But I think law enforcement dislikes it more than the civilians do. They do. That's a great point.
And especially the officers that pride themselves in doing a good job. They are the ones that are most affected when the badge is tarnished by inappropriate behavior. And again, we make it very easy for people to bring forward complaints or to call us anonymously. If they believe that they've been stopped inappropriately or they were treated in a manner that they don't think was right, there's a myriad of ways they can bring that to our attention. And it might be nothing. Our officers at Anaheim, we were the first in the county of Orange to wear body-worn cameras. So all of our police contacts are captured on body-worn camera. Not to say we're going to pick up everything, but they do serve a great function and a great tool for those types of situations.
And I can certainly provide personal attestation to what you're saying there. I had somebody that was bad-mouthing the police department, and they called me and wanted to broadcast it. And ironically enough, within about a week or so, I actually had the police chief was a guest on the show, and before the show, I made a comment about it, and they knew exactly who it was, just because he apparently made these comments to other people. And it rose all the way to the level that chief of police knew exactly who it was without me even mentioning a name.
That's interesting.
Right? So, I mean, it goes through the police department.
And my experience is, since we've had the cameras, the vast majority of the times where information has been brought to our attention and we review the camera footage, it supports the officer's actions. So the officers understand now that these are great investigative tools, and in a lot of ways it protects them.
That makes a lot of sense. I want to ask you when we come back about the cameras, and is law enforcement at a disadvantage with the cameras? Because those of us with a cell phone, which is probably about everybody, can share our information in a heartbeat, yet law enforcement seems like they have to hold theirs back because of building the cases. So I want to talk to you about that one when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, more with Deputy Chief Julian Harvey. Do you know the cost of owning your home? What will my retirement accounts be worth? You can reach us anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available, Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1, on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL Lending.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Do you own real estate or have assets over $150,000? Do you know one of your heirs will be the probate courts and the IRS? If you don't have a living trust, you will go through probate. Call Heritage Financial Services toll-free at 1-855-434-7400 for a free review. Check us out on Facebook, Heritage Financial Service in Lake Forest, California. That's 1-855-434-7400. Again, 1-855-434-7400.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. In the Mortgage Minute today, being brought to you by Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for your next mortgage, maybe a debt consolidation loan, Gold Star Mortgage has the programs for you. Do you know the cost of not owning your own home? Owning a home has significant financial benefits, yet many continue renting. Today, let's look at the financial reasons why owning a home on your own has been a part of the American dream for as long as America has existed. Zillow recently reported, and I'll quote, "With rents continuing to climb and interest rates staying low, many renters find themselves gazing over the homeownership fence and wondering if the grass really is greener." Leaving aside for the moment the difficulties of saving for a down payment, which is not what you think it needs to be, let's focus on the monthly expenses of owning a home. Turns out that renters currently pay the median rent in many markets, could afford to buy a higher quality property than the typical home without increasing their monthly expenses. What proof exists that owning is financially better than renting? Well, the latest Rent versus Buy report from Trulia pointed out the top 5 financial benefits of home ownership. Number 1, mortgage payments can be fixed while rents go up. Equity in your home can be a financial resource later. You can build wealth without paying capital gain. A mortgage can act as forced savings, and overall homeowners can enjoy greater wealth growth than renters. Easy for me to say. Studies have shown that a homeowner's net worth is 45 times greater than that of a renter. Just a few months ago, we spoke about a family buying an average-priced home at the beginning of 2017 could build more than $42,000 in family wealth over the next 5 years, and that is a national number. Here in California, Southern California, those numbers grow even faster. Some argue that renting eliminates the cost of taxes and home repairs. Hogwash. Every potential renter must realize that all the expenses the landlord incurs are baked into the rent payment along with a profit margin. So you're paying rent somewhere. It's either your rent or somebody else's. Owning a home has always been and always will be better from a financial standpoint than renting. That is the Mortgage Minute. Again, brought to you by our friends over at Gold Star Mortgage. Give us a call. We'll put you in touch with them to get that next loan when you are ready. Continuing our conversation this morning, we are chatting with Julian Harvey, Deputy Chief, Anaheim Police Department. So before the break, we were chatting about the idea or the comment that Anaheim Police all have the body cameras. And I was questioning and wanted to throw this up to Deputy Chief here about this, that the police officers, you know, the minute something happens, in fact, sometimes before an event is even finished happening, somebody's got a Facebook Live going, or they're recording things and posting it on Facebook, YouTube, wherever it is. Yet the law enforcement officers have to remain silent and not defend themselves, which they shouldn't have to do in the first place, while a prosecutor builds a case, and that can take years. Doesn't that put the officers at a big disadvantage?
Well, yes and no. Is there a double standard? There certainly is. We are held to a much higher threshold in terms of what information we can release and broadcast. So the recordings that our officers take on a daily basis are what we consider evidence. So if they contact someone in the field on a call for service or on an investigative interview, that recording is protected, and we keep very close tabs on it, and we only release it in the discovery process or subject to a subpoena. So no, we don't have the same freedoms that someone of the general public would, that could just sell it to TMZ or to whomever.
Right.
And get it out there immediately. Our recordings are part of our evidence package.
So even though it's there, it can be a long time before, and we've seen already that there's been some law enforcement officers, their careers have been killed by the fact that they can't release it and they can't share their side of the story.
Right. We hold these recordings very closely, and it's for a lot of different reasons. So, like you said, sometimes the criminal process takes years to come to fruition, and the civil matter that might be attached to this could take even longer. So
how do we protect the officers then? Is there studies or groups that are out there that are looking from a protecting and the reputation and the great work that law enforcement does?
Well, if people get into this profession for constant affirmation or kudos that they're getting into the wrong job, especially today, you have to get satisfaction from this work from other avenues. So, but there are protections in place. There's the Peace Officer Bill of Rights that we can't discipline an officer unless we afford them certain protections. And obviously, there needs to be there's a burden of proof that has to be overcome, as evidence that has to show cause for any type of disciplinary action. So, but again, the officers need to get satisfaction in their job from internal sources and other means. But if they're looking for affirmation from the community at large, that may not happen in today's day and age. We do, thankfully, have a tremendous amount of support in our community, especially here in Anaheim. We're grateful for that support, and we couldn't do our job. We couldn't police this city without the partnership of our community. So for that, we're grateful.
And I'm going to share, Robin, I thank you for writing this message. Came right off of our Facebook Live. Thank you for helping keep our city safe. Our family have been residents of Anaheim for over 56 years. We pray for our police officers. So that's the kind of commentary that we need to hear more of. Thanks, Robin, for sharing that. Because that's exactly it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but to me, the officers are human. So yeah, they get and probably what's even more challenging, my guess, and again, I'm just surmising, is the family. Right, you get an officer and he does get his satisfaction from the job that he's doing, but when families start seeing the bashing that's been going on the media and from some people, the families start looking and saying, something, I know he's doing a good thing, but is it worth it?
That's a great question. It's a great point. I was at an event this weekend, and I can tell you that there is a tremendous amount of support out there. Many people came up to me and the others I was working with in uniform, thanking us for our service, thanking us for what we do. And it might seem insignificant for someone to do that, but I can tell you it means quite a lot to our officers because they don't hear it very often. It is mostly the negative things that you see on TV and through the media is, oh, here's another negative contact between the community and the police, and those things just become magnified when it's on a national basis. So you're right, it does affect the family, it affects the officers, it makes it more challenging to come in and do what they need to do every day. Every call, every contact, treating people with the respect that they deserve and being professional. It's tough, and I shared with you on the break, we're having some difficulty attracting people to this profession. We're not alone. We have the luxury here in Anaheim of being a destination department. We can attract the best and brightest in terms of law.
You have to explain that, though, because I understand, and I want our audience to, what does it mean being a destination department?
Well, we have a great reputation. We have the best equipment, great working conditions. We have a lot of variety, a lot of special assignment opportunities here in the department. So for a myriad of reasons, it's a very solvent, very, very stable city. Again, a lot of variety, a lot of venues. It's an interesting, every day is different here. So we are a destination department, which is great. It helps us with our recruiting. But I can tell you on a national basis, there is a dearth of applicants willing to step forward and want to become police officers. When I hired on 26 years ago, the lines were around the block to become a police officer. We don't see that any longer. It's troubling. It's something we need to focus on and get back to what it is that really brings people into this profession, and how do we get the word out that this is a great career and we want the best and brightest.
So what are the requirements for somebody to be a law enforcement officer?
Not a tremendous amount of requirements. A high school diploma, you have to pass a series of physical and an oral interview and a written test. We're looking for people with the right moral compass, the right ethical understanding of right and wrong, mostly. Those are what we're looking for. People who can demonstrate good judgment and make decisions quickly. We're not looking for people who are the top of their class or have high degrees. We want people who have a passion for helping others and who can understand the challenges of this job and come out and make a difference.
If what I understand, and I'm not going to get into the exact numbers, but law enforcement can be a financially rewarding and secure position for somebody's family.
Very much so. Starting salaries are very competitive to other industries, and the opportunity for growth is immediate. So the longer you stay, the more money you make. There's education incentives. There's overtime that's built into most departments. Most places cannot, police their cities without using overtime. So those opportunities are there. There's opportunities for promotion. There's obviously retirement is some of the best in the business, even with PEPRA.
What is PEPRA?
PEPRA is the change in the retirement system several years ago that changed the formula. But still, even with PEPRA, it's still a very attractive defined benefit retirement system that people can enter into and have that stability even beyond their work years.
So now we see a few different groups, and I would like to try and understand explorers. How do they fit into the whole process? Because I know they do a great job.
Great question. So we focus heavily on our youth services in Anaheim. What our ideal is to attract young people, even in the elementary grade school age, get them interested in professions in public safety, whether it be police or fire, even as dispatchers or records clerks. We have a lot of positions to offer. So kind of whet their appetite, get their interest going, and then once their interests are there, there's ways they can become involved as junior cadets in grade school. They can become, there's a middle school program we have at Sycamore Junior High where it's a pipeline where they can get in there and learn more on a daily basis about these careers. We also bring to bear the importance of decision making, sound decision making in those formative years, those early teen years where decisions you make then are going to start to impact your life for the rest of your life. So we want to make sure, look, it doesn't really count now, but very soon those decisions you make every day are going to mean something. And then we have the Explorer program, who are the early high school grade. They come out, you'll see them out at different events, maybe the 4th of July parade. They're out there helping people get to where they need to go. We use them for canvases when we're looking for evidence. We bring them out as much as we can. Again, getting them interested in the career. They get to learn about radio codes. They go on ride-alongs. And then we have a cadet program where we pay young people who are in school or in college to work the front counter. They work in forensics. They work throughout our police department. They work in homicide and gangs. They do various assignments, but we pay them a fairly decent hourly wage while they're going to school. And again, the whole idea is they serve a great function for us, but also it's almost like the minor league for our department. We want them to become our eventual police officers and full-time employees.
Great information, and with what you're saying there, we'll talk about this when we come back. The applicants don't have to go into $200,000 in debt and student loans.
Oh, that's absolutely true.
Big time benefit there as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, more with Deputy Chief Julian Harvey. We will also talk about what will my retirement accounts be worth. We've still got a lot to cover. Remember, you can reach us anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, and on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Isn't it time you found out the truth about FHA-insured home equity conversion? No, it's not your grandfather's reverse mortgage. This just may be the finest financial planning strategy available for all homeowners of retirement age. Helping protect what you've earned is the job of your board of directors with continued education. Major research has shown that using a HECM will significantly enhance the success rate of a retiree's portfolio and legacy. Please allow us to educate. For your complimentary consultation, call Jay Kaplan at 949-300-3855. That's 949-300-3855.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You need to call the Ron Siegel team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by VIP Hero Program. That is the program that we've set up. Go to VIPHeroProgram.com. It is for our first responders, military, active, retired, reserved, nurses, teachers, law enforcement, fire, the whole gang right there, the people that we count on in our community. We've got real estate professionals, lenders, title companies, lawyers, all offering discounts to those who serve. What will my retirement account be worth is the question today. Well, think about this concept. Again, I shared with you earlier that most of us don't have the defined benefit plans. That was a common number, and the Deputy Chief spoke to it earlier that law enforcement has that still. But it was a big issue 60s, 70s where you had defined benefit. Now we have defined contribution. What's it going to be worth? Are you planning for your retirement? Think about some of these numbers. Are you saving money? Is the money growing as quickly as you'd like? How much money is going to be needed in your retirement? For 40 years we've been saying, you can put the money away tax deferred now because taxes are going to be less when you retire. Well, that's not true. It hasn't been true for about 30 or 40 years now. So be careful of that misnomer. Social Security. Most retirees, average Social Security, $16,100 a year. You going to be able to live on that one? Probably not. Make sure you get with a great financial planner and understand what your long and short-term goals are. How are you going to achieve them? And if you don't have a good financial planner, give me a call at 800-306-1990. It is not something I do any longer, but I do know the people that are doing it, and I know some of them that I would be very happy to introduce you to. Give me a call, 800-306-1990. We will put you in touch with them. We're continuing our conversation this morning. Deputy Chief of the Anaheim Police Department, Julian Harvey, is with us, and we're chatting law enforcement and the idea right now, it's Police Appreciation Week. Love the idea that I saw yesterday on social media, as you and I were talking during the break. But yesterday, whether you like it or not, the White House was painted in blue.
I saw that.
Wasn't that great? I mean, it's something that we could just, every one of us should be saying thank you. I mean, think about the chaos. Well, I've been watching some of the news, Long Island, New York, with what's been going on with, MS-13 gang, and I know you were involved in the gang units.
Yeah, that's troubling out there right now. So National Police Week, it's unfortunate that every year there's names put on these memorials all over the country. 135 officers, I believe, were killed in 2016 across the country, 15 here in California. And the 135 number was a spike in recent years. So, you know, we saw ambush style incidents around the country where people were targeting law enforcement, and so that's a troubling trend. And hopefully it was just an aberration. We don't see that continue. But it's nice that every year we take the time to recognize those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice.
It is, and you know, obviously those and their families. I mean, remembering in our thoughts, prayers, wallets that. You know, I'm glad. One of the nice things, I mean, because we see like right now they've got some of these GoFundMe. They're finding sometimes that those are some scams, so people start being careful of them. But when there is a legitimate one, and you've got for some of the fallen officers and people that really their families, because the families are involved just as much as the office. Sometimes they've probably got a tougher job than the officers out there doing what they do.
Yeah, in a lot of ways that's true. You know, there's these, you know, you get called in the middle of the night to go, you go take care of business, do what you need to do, but there's people, you know, back at home that are worried. And you're right, I do want people to make sure when they do give to a cause that they know exactly who it is they're giving to, that it's under the auspices of a legitimate organization. So we don't want people being, you know, there are people out there that are preying on these unfortunate incidents and for their own personal gain. So if you know what you're doing and what you're giving to is a legitimate organization, then we support that.
The other thing that I think a lot of people are not aware of is that within, I'm assuming all police departments, I can speak to Anaheim because I've used them, is when you've got some of the larger organizations or a decent sized organization, there are community outreach groups within the police department where they'll go and share information and, you know, give people good data.
Absolutely. We have our community policing teams. We have our homeless outreach team. Their sole job, they're not answering the radio. They're not required to respond to calls for service. Their job is to get out in the community and interact with residents and business owners and visitors and to get the information out. Often it's a matter of educating the community because, again, like I said, we cannot police this city without the partnership of those we serve. And so, again, people need to be their own best advocates. How can they protect themselves from crimes like that, crimes like those fraud-type things on the internet? How do they protect their homes and businesses from being burglarized, or to just fortify them in a manner that makes them less attractive to crime?
So when you talk about that part of it, it's a good rabbit trail to go down. When you talk about burglarizing homes, I have read some numbers, and I don't know if it's still the case, that sometimes the alarm sign out front is as good as anything else. We also see this advertisements right now on these, I think the company, I don't want to throw their name out there because I don't know whether it's good or bad, but the companies that have the cameras on the doorbell or the motion cameras, do those help?
You know, again, like you, I'm not gonna advocate for any particular company. I think that there are some benefits to alarm systems. Certainly, if there's cameras that trigger to an alarm company that provide an immediate response to go check on the residents, we also respond to those calls. A lot of those calls are false. I can tell you that they do drain our resources in that we are responding to false alarm calls. But I would never want to tell someone not to get one of those systems if it creates peace of mind, and it does augment, you know, the security. It might deter a potential burglar from going to that house. If they see the camera system and they know that place is alarmed, they might move on to another residence. And we're not trying to push the can down the road, but it is a way of pushing crime to somewhere that maybe we, you know, if someone wants to protect their home in a way that they feel is going to give them peace of mind, we support that.
I'll share a quick personal story. As I used to travel a tremendous amount, and I was putting a sophisticated alarm system in my house, or at least sophisticated for 25 years ago. And one of the alarm companies says, well, you don't want to bug the box because then the police won't be able to catch the people. And my comment was, with all due respect, I don't want to catch them. I want to get them going somewhere else and not bother my family.
Exactly. Our goal is to prevent crime, deter crime from ever happening in the first place. So
we don't want to push it to another city, but as long as it's not in ours.
Well, we just want to prevent it from happening, period. And,
right.
These systems, as good as they are, they're not foolproof. Some of these professional burglary rings are in and out of your house in a couple of minutes, and they know exactly what they're doing, where they're going. So the best system in the world may not prevent that crime from happening. It might be committed before the alarm company even gets the call. So nothing's foolproof, and everyone needs to understand that.
Great information as always. We certainly appreciate you coming in here. We appreciate everything that you and the department do every day. And I know that a lot of law enforcement don't like it when I say this, but I do anyway. If you see a law enforcement officer at Starbucks, buy them a cup of coffee, buy them a breakfast, buy them lunch. Just say thank you. They're out there doing, when you and I go to work every day, we pretty much know that we're coming home. Their families are saying a prayer, making sure that they do. So say thank you. Even if you don't buy them a cup of coffee, say thank you.
Yeah, we don't need you to buy us a cup of coffee.
Right?
Appreciate the support.
I'll say that because I know that the law enforcement won't. Set that first radio preset button I'll pander a little more. Set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, and say thank you to a law enforcement officer today and every day. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.